in New York, RuPaul's DragCon. I cannot wait this September. If you missed this one and you live on the East Coast, you have no excuse not to be in New York, okay? They got 2 airports. Y'all can make it.
Asia, I feel like I got so lucky because you're such a gorgeous creature.
I feel the same way about you.
Thank you,
Your
sweetheart.
eyebrows.
Thank you. Yeah, we had a kiki about our brows. It's all about good brows and the power of the painted face.
Yes.
What is it, Asia, that you would say along the way you've learned is the greatest beauty secret that every queen everywhere should know?
I think the greatest beauty secret is probably trying new things. The thing about makeup or about anything beauty related, it is so different from person to person to person. And I think society is kind of, I'm just going to hold this because I don't like this little thing.
That's right.
I think society has kind of tricked us into thinking, okay, this is how we're doing our eyebrows for this decade. This is the blush color we're wearing now. And I think so many of us get frustrated because we're constantly trying to do like what is being pushed on us instead of just like, I'm going to try this, I'm going to try that, I'm going to try this. And then you'll find something that sticks and that works for you specifically. So that's, to me, the greatest beauty secret is, of course, listen to what the trends are, but find things that work for you. And if it's something that everybody is saying, no, don't do that, but it works for you, then it works for you.
So is a setting spray something that you would say you need regardless of if you're doing loose powder, even you say when you're doing makeup, boy makeup, then you still use a setting spray?
I do not use a setting spray for my boy makeup because I like a little bit of a dewier finish during the daytime or as a guy. Setting spray is not for everyone because some people's skins, I have oily skin, but some people, if you have a drier skin or even combination skin, sometimes it dries people out. Even me, sometimes my lips get really chapped when I use a setting spray. So it's not, again, like I said before, for everyone, but like for me, I feel like I have to have it.
Yeah.
And so your skin will tell you, like if you listen or if you look or pay attention, your skin will tell you what it likes and what it doesn't like.
You get a lot of questions about your skin, Asia, on social media, and people love specifically, I know I always wonder when I see you post what your skin secrets are, aside from just your makeup, because great makeup starts with a great foundation, meaning your skin, your canvas.
Correct.
What is your skin secret?
Okay, so again, different strokes for different folks. You must be on some type of skincare regimen. I'm never like somebody that's gonna say you gotta use this and expensive products. I'm gonna be honest, a lot of people hate when I say it, but there is variance and difference, but from, L'Oreal or something you can get at a drugstore to Guerlain or something you have to get at Neiman Marcus. It's different, it is, but it's not like in 20 years, you're going to be like, I should have been using Guerlain for the past 20 years.
Work with what you got, right?
Yes. But you have to be on some type of skincare regimen. Everybody should be cleansing their face twice a day, both before and after makeup, using a toner. And a lot of people that have dry skin try and stay away from toners because it can dry your face out. Clinique does the best for toners because they have so many different ones and you can find one that's good for you. But everybody should be using a toner because it pulls out oil and impurities and it puts your entire face at the same level for your makeup. And you also should be using, of course, an eye cream and a moisturizer. But you don't have to. My skincare regimen is somewhat expensive. I use mostly Chanel products. I also use La Prairie and Guerlain and Trish McAvoy. But I use Clinique toner, which is not expensive. I use Oil of Olay moisturizer once a day, which is at the drugstore, not expensive. So you just need to be doing something. You need to be giving your skin some care on a regular basis. Even if you're using drugstore brands or things that are not expensive, as long as you get in the habit of cleansing, toning, moisturizing, and an eye cream on a day-to-day basis, you will see a huge difference in like 30 days.
When did you first try makeup? What was your first makeup experience? Do you remember?
So my first makeup experience, the first time I ever got in drag was my 9th grade year of high school. I was one of the girls at the beginning of Little Shop of Horrors. That was my first time experimenting with makeup, and it was terrible. And I didn't like makeup for the longest because it felt heavy. It felt like I couldn't breathe. I was suffocating. I'm suffocating now in this neck thing.
But you look so great. It doesn't matter.
Thank you. So that was my first intro to makeup, but I didn't even really like it until later in life when I started seeing the artistic aspects of it. I started I fell in love with Cirque du Soleil, and I started looking at like the backup dancers' creative makeup and like Janet Jackson's music videos and Britney Spears and places like that. And that's when I got excited about it. Beauty makeup has never been like where I was like, oh my God, I love this. I've never been the person to look through Cosmopolitan and look at beauty makeup and fall in love. I fell in love with beauty makeup through the artistic aspect of theatrical and costume makeup.
Sure. And then as an artist yourself, what do you look to for inspiration when it comes to techniques, when it comes to application, when it comes to modifying your style over the years? What's current, what's not? Who do you look to? Who are beacons? Maybe it's like a friend, maybe it's family.
Okay, so with makeup, oh God, there's so many. For structure and face shape, I think the person that has mastered altering their face shape, there's two people. One of them is Miss Fame.
Yes.
The other one is, I don't know if anybody is familiar with the entertainer named Landon Sider, who's actually from California. If not, write that name down. Like, look him up. He's a male impersonator, and he is a pro at changing the shape of his face. He does so many different characters and looks exactly like him. He does Bruno Mars. He does Pitbull.
Really?
He does a Jesus Christ face. He does, who's the guy from Anchorman?
Will Ferrell.
Will Ferrell.
Uh-huh.
He does all of these characters and looks exactly like them through makeup and just through changing the shape of his face. Landon Sider, look him up. So Miss Fame, Landon Sider. For just artistic aspect, definitely Kimchi.
Yes.
It's kind of heartbreaking because Kimchi paints a masterpiece every day and then it's washed down the drain.
Yeah, that's true.
It's, other than photos, it's lost forever. Miss Fame, Landon Sider, Kimchi, also Pheromone, Valentina, and also Sir John, who's a mainstream makeup artist. He is Beyonce's makeup artist. He's also done Mariah Carey and a lot of mainstream artists, as well as Preston, who does Michelle Visage a lot of times. I think he's doing her this weekend. He also does Janet Jackson. Those are the people that I look to for trends and look to for like technique and artistry, because they're always the first people I see do something, and then a year later, everyone is doing.
Yeah, it's important to know that in the way that you're applying makeup, it matters. Technique and mastering that technique matters.
Yes.
And practice, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Do you practice ever doing other people's makeup, or it's always on you?
Okay, so I used to be a Chanel makeup artist, and I learned quickly that doing makeup on other people is not something I love. I'm okay with it. It's just not something I love. I have never died for that. But I did learn so much there because I had grown used to doing makeup on one face shape. I know exactly what to do on my face to get a certain look across. And, you know, if any of y'all have ever been to a makeup counter in a department store, there's tons of different women from all different walks of life and all different face shapes, all different complexions, ethnic backgrounds, that all have a certain look that they want.
Did you ever do a bride's makeup?
I have done many a brides. I did in Dallas. We do a lot of debutante balls, so I did a lot of that. And I would always require we do 2 practice runs because just the word wedding makes me nervous. For all of y'all women that are getting married sometime or have gotten married, I don't want to be anywhere near you on those days. That is your day that you've dreamed of since you were a little girl, and I don't want you to blame it going awry on me. My boyfriend is a hairstylist. He feels the same way. But I would always require 2 practice runs because I do the first one with her dream makeup job, and then I do the second one with, this is how I think we could most effectively accentuate your features. And then I let them decide, okay, of these 2, which one do you feel you like the most? And they may say, I love my eyes and brows here. I love the lips on this one. So we can kind of marry those together. But wedding makeup is terrifying.
Asia, is there you mentioned that you like tutorials. Is there a certain YouTuber or certain tutorial that everyone in this room has got to see? You mentioned the one that you admire, the artist that you admire. But is there something like to teach us how to do eyeliner or to teach us how to sculpt and contour? Is there one URL that we should all have bookmarked?
One of the ones that I love the most is there are tutorials from Tom Ford makeup artists. Tom Ford's products are super expensive. The lipsticks are $78. I don't know about y'all, but I can't do it. But the education from his artists is probably the most cutting edge right now. And my opinion. And
Nice.
they touch on things that are important in makeup that people don't know are important in makeup. One of them is symmetry. We are biochemically engineered to respond to symmetry for reproduction. When back in our hunter-gatherer days, sorry to give you a history
No,
lesson.
I'm loving
Back in our
this.
hunter-gatherer days, that was the only way we knew if someone's genetics were at the top of their game for reproduction. That's why we're attracted to muscles. That's why we're attracted to women with thin waists and big breasts and big butts. That's just why. And so symmetry is what we subconsciously respond to. So the people that we look to in mainstream society that are considered to be the most beautiful people, it's the people with the most symmetrical faces. Kate Moss, Naomi Campbell, Heidi Klum. Like those are three whose people mathematically have the most symmetrical faces in history. And so Tom Ford's makeup artists, they teach you how to get symmetry in your face so people respond to you naturally as beautiful. It doesn't mean that you're wearing a lot of makeup. Brooke Shields is another person. She has, through time, has been considered to have the most symmetrical natural eyebrows and brow bone. So Tom Ford's makeup artists, they do a really good job of giving tutorials on how to get symmetry in your face.
Is there a fierceness that can come from, even if it's a lip gloss for a girl on the street? Is there something to embrace about the power that makeup brings us?
Yeah, there is. It's like, do you ever remember when you were a kid and it was Halloween and you were in your costume or in a mask and you felt invincible? You felt like, I'm just going to walk down the street hollering and yelling at these people with candy and just run amok. Because it's like, there's a part of you that disconnects because it's like, tomorrow I could take this off and leave it with the costume and people will never know it was me.
I feel that way in designer clothing.
Exactly.
It's just
Exactly.
Like, oh my God.
And so it's
I'm me.
Exactly. It's the same thing with makeup. It's like, I hate to use the word mask, but that is what it is. And for a lot of people, for a lot of women especially, wearing makeup is like a rite of passage, and it allows you to kind of grow into the person that you want to be. And then as you age, a lot of times you kind of start to dial back on the makeup because you're like, okay, let me release some of that and see how much I can stand on my own 2 feet behind 36 colors of eyeshadow.
Yes.
So it's, you know, it's an empowering thing because it gives you a chance to find out exactly who you are and what your limits are when you feel like you're behind somewhat of a veil.
How did Drag Race change the way you do your makeup?
Bitch, oh my God, that's a good question. Okay, so I've always done pageants and I've always lived my life on stage. I've never been in HD or on television or like here sitting this close to people or out walking down the hall in fluorescent lights. So when I thought I could possibly get on Drag Race, I started probably 3 months ahead of time adjusting my makeup to be on television because it's a completely different thing.
Yes.
Being on a dark stage with a spotlight 30 feet away from people, you can do a lot of different things. That doesn't work on television.
That's true. And
Yes.
there's a different level of scrutiny.
Yeah,
You
because
know?
people can, pause and screenshot and zoom in to your pores. Like and we don't get the veil that they got in season 1 and 2. Like we don't get the filter. Like it is, and the camera is literally like this while you're trying to put on your lipstick. So it's, it can be intimidating, but I had to okay, let me start. And, I looked at Naomi Smalls. I looked at Shea Coulee. I looked at other girls of color that had really accomplished that and said, okay, I've got to, start getting ready for this. And then now when I do my makeup, every time I sit down, I have to think, okay, what am I doing today? Let me make sure what the face that I put on is going to be, appropriate for whatever avenue I'm going to be in.
It's unique to observe that earlier on in earlier seasons, there wasn't necessarily the demand for the polish that there is, when you've been on. So the bar is high.
Absolutely. I had a brief conversation with Anderson Cooper like a month ago.
What's he like, first of all?
He's wonderful.
Silver Fox.
Wonderful. Silver Fox.
Yes.
He was like, girl, I'm ready for them to stop upgrading the cameras. He was like,
Yes.
we've went from, used to, back in the day, you could just, they would do your makeup and, it would look great on screen. Well, now they've got HD and XD and NAACP and all of these and stuff. And there's a lot less to hide behind. So it's very intimidating.
Do we have questions from the audience? Do we want to get some questions? Hi.
Hey, girl. Hey.
Hey.
Hey. So I have a question for you. What
Yes.
is one makeup thing that like really bothers you that's like trending now?
Oh, I know one.
Here we
I don't
go.
know if this is a trend, but I keep seeing this on my Instagram. When they overpaint or overdraw their nostrils, have y'all seen that where they like draw it? Yeah, they change the shape of it.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of impersonators, like when people do people like Dionne Warwick, who has huge nostrils, it's like a double barrel shotgun. You got to kind of do that. But like, I started to see girls like change the shape of their nostril and like draw black way up here so it looks like their nostril is like a huge triangle. That is so
That's crazy.
peculiar to
Yeah.
me and frightening.
I have two small questions. Just
Yes.
do you own a lot of makeup, and is there one product that you can't live without?
Great question.
I own a lot of makeup, and I keep finding myself picking up the same things every day.
Mm-hmm.
Every day. One thing I could not live without. Okay, so as a girl of color, anybody that's any shade darker than this young man right here, you have to have what I call a base color. And it's not like your foundation color, but for me, it's a peach. And it's a color that goes in between everything. Mine is actually a blush from MAC called Peaches, but it's like a soft peach orangey color, and I use that to go over my cheeks. I use that above
Cream
my black.
or powder?
It's powder.
Okay.
It's a blush. And everybody needs what I call a base color, which will go on your face anywhere between a light section and a dark section, and it just kind of buffers everything out. It kind of marries them together. I'm no scientist, but if you ever look at a shadow on a wall, at the edge of it, like if it's black and white, at the edge of it, there's always a little bit of orange or red. And that's the light, that's light refracting when it bends around something. So anytime your face goes from light to dark, you have to have a little bit of a warm color in between to kind of marry those two together. So everybody, that's the one thing I say, once you find one, stick to it for the rest of your life. But everybody needs a base color that you can always dip your brush in. If you need to kind of soften your cheeks, if you need to go soften your nose contour, go over your crease, under your liner, you can put it anywhere on your face where light meets dark and it kind of blends the edges together. Again, mine is called Peaches. For lighter complexions, you want it to be warm, so you want to stay in the kind of orangey pink areas, but like a light pink or anything that you find that is like a buffer color. That's the one thing I cannot live without.
Hi.
Hi.
I've wondered this, like certain queens, they just have a perfect face, and I think you're one of them.
Thank you.
How do you keep your makeup when you have a full face? Keep it from looking like cakey and gross.
That's a never-ending struggle for everybody. Don't let anybody tell you that it's not. Okay, so I apply finishing spray. And the three things that I feel like the four things you always need to not be cakey to keep with you are your lip touch-up, unless you're using the Jeffree Star liquid lipsticks because you don't have to touch them up. A clean powder puff, your base color, like I said before, and then your highlighter bronzer. Whenever I'm looking cakey, I just pat my face with my powder puff, and I take my base color, which is my peach color, and I hit around my cheeks, across my forehead, under my neck, down the side of my nose, and it's like a new face. Also the same thing like with a highlight or a bronzer. Popping that back on kind of gives yourself a lustrous look again. But really that base color, just keeping that and being able to add a little bit of warmth to your face will keep you from looking cakey.
Question for you.
Yes.
In finding your face and for men or women doing drag or makeup application, I don't know if you've answered this question already. Any tips for someone learning to find their face?
Yes, try new things, and when you're in the face finding kind of era of your drag, try and do a different face every time, because then you'll find things that you like. You're like, oh my God, okay, I found my brow today. And then 6 months later, you're like, okay, I found my lip today. And before you know it, you'll have your face and you will have your staples of what you can do quick, fast, and in a hurry if you're running behind. But always try new things. And then also practice. When I first started doing drag, kind of going back to what you asked me earlier, they used to always tell me, when you're at home, practice, paint an eye. And so that is important. And also, whatever hand you write with, when you're doing your eyes, especially your brow, do the opposite one first. Because it's harder, and when you train yourself to do that side of your face correctly, it makes it that much easier to do the side that you write with. And also, you have a better chance of getting your eyebrows or liner to match if you do the hard side first.
So
Yes.
smart.
Thanks.
This is him? Let me see. Oh, but you already found your face. What are you talking about?
Those are different faces.
Is this you?
Yeah.
Look at your brows. Oh, girl, sit down. You're good. You know what you're doing. Go sit down. Taking up time.
Amazing.
So what is like the longest you'll take to do your makeup? And if you have to do like a quick drag, like what's the fastest?
Do not say quick drag.
Trigger.
That's a
Yes.
dirty word.
If you have to do like, you don't have a lot of time, can you do your face in like 45 minutes or?
That's a great question, a question that people ask a lot. So when I'm getting ready, I like to give myself 2 hours before I have to walk out the door. But that includes 30 minutes of putting on my body and my costume and everything. So when I'm on the road or somewhere and I want to have a good face, don't want to be rushed, don't want to be stressed, I like to give myself an hour and a half. And I try and do 30 minutes of my face, 30 minutes of my eyes, and then 30 minutes of going back in, fixing things that need to be fixed. I can do my makeup. I just actually, 2 weeks ago, I was here in LA doing something, and I landed at, I think, 8 and had to be on camera ready at 10, you know, LA traffic. And I think I did my face in probably like 20 minutes. And ironically, I think every drag queen will tell you, you get the most compliments on your face when you do your rush jobs. That's always when people are like, oh my God, you look so great. And when you've been in the mirror for 2 hours putting on individual pieces of glitter, everybody's like, hey girl, you look good. It's very that. So to answer your question, I normally like to give myself an hour and a half to do my face. I can do my face in probably 20 minutes if I have to.
You're amazing,
Thank you,
Asia,
thank you,
and
thank you.
gorgeous. Really.
Thank you guys.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for all the fantastic beauty questions. I feel like we've learned a lot. I learned a lot.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And just makeup, girl, just try stuff until it works for you. It's going to be different for everybody. Everybody's makeup journey is different. Everybody's faces and skin types are different. And just try new things until you find things that work for you. Do not let the makeup industry or mainstream society tell you what your face should look like. Find what works for you.
Yeah, fantastic. That's in life. Just find
Yes.
what works.
Yes.
Yeah, fantastic. Thanks, everybody.
Thank
you,
you.
Asia O'Hara.
See you later.
Thank you.